Okay, so I'm going to start a pair of socks for Charlie, and I've had a lot of people ask me how I start socks, so that I would start a little video. This is the yarn that we picked out when I was in Ohio, and because it's dark, I'm going to start out with this bear sock yarn. So I'm going to cast on half as many as what is called for on the sock. And when I do socks, I almost always use this pattern, Simple Skip, SKYP, socks by Adrienne Koo. So my cast on, I haven't memorized. I don't know where it's at on this paper. I'm sure it's there somewhere. But I want 64 stitches total. So what I'm going to cast on with the bear is 32. So I'm going to start with half. I'm going to cast on the 32. These are size 2 needles. It's the 2.75 millimeter or 2.25. It's so tiny I cannot read it. Okay, so bear with me because after having the hand surgery, I'm not as fast as I normally am. So this is just how I cast on. So I'm going to do 32 stitches. And I won't make you sit there and watch me slowly do 32 stitches. So just, yeah, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've got my 32 stitches. And I'm just going to knit several rows with this color. I don't have like a specific amount of rows that I do. And anyway, so the other day Max came by to hunt. And he was switching into his hunting boots. And I noticed that he was wearing the socks that I knit him last year. So I was pretty excited. And I use this pattern, the Simple Skip, every time I do men's socks because it's an easy to memorize one. I don't have to carry the pattern around, but I can take the socks pretty much everywhere I go. If you're in a waiting room, and you can just pull it out and be working on them. So it's Charlie's turn. Everybody else has got a pair of socks but him at this point, so that's why I bought that yarn. So I do the continental method of knitting. I taught myself to knit when I was in 8th grade, and I used to throw, but it threw off my shoulder. And as you can see, I have had surgery recently, so it has slowed me down a little bit, but I'm ready to be knitting all the time again. So I'll be doing this. I'll just heat my hands. Okay, I thought I better show you that I do stockinette stitch. So knit one row, then purl the next, etc. And I don't know if I'm saying stockinette right, and I honestly don't care if I'm saying it right, because that's just me. So I'm going to purl this whole row. Like I said, I'm going to do several rows, and then I'm going to switch to the darker and do 2 rows. Or is it 3? Well, we'll get there. This is a great instruction video. She doesn't even know what she's doing. Leave a comment below. Okay, I'm back onto a knit row. As you can see, I knit a little faster than I purl. It's pretty amazing. My hands are already getting fatigued. Hey! So worth it. Knitting for me is such an addiction. And that is okay. So with that, you can probably see it's the stockinette. So that side's the knit side, and that side's pearls. Nifty, huh? Okay, we're back to the pearl side. Honestly, I think it's just kind of painful to watch me purl, but I'll do a few so you can get an idea. And when we switch yarns, you want to be starting on a knit row. So at the end of this purl is when I'm going to attach that yarn that I bought. I bought it at the shop in Ohio. We visited Charlie New Year's last year, and he took me to this yarn shop that he had seen, because where else would you take your mom? Which is awesome. It's like, oh my god, I found a yarn shop, I'm gonna take you. So we go in there. Anyway, I get this yarn out a little while ago and I cannot find the label. So I know the name of the store I got it from, which is Yarn It and Haberdashery. I just like to say the word haberdashery. Just rolls off the tongue, don't you think? Anyway, I went to their website to try and figure out what yarn it was, and I could not figure it out. So it is a mystery to all of us. But Charlie picked out the color, so I think it's a pretty cool forest fall looking color. So today being November 1st. Okay, see, done with the purl row. So you can see I've got a few rows on there, and now it's time to attach this. So I don't want the outside piece. I want, oh God willing, I'll be able to find it. Hold on. How is it not sticking out? Shit. Okay. Really? Okay. Ah, Jesus. This, honest to God, this is how it is. You just freaking gotta pull the center out and have flipping yarn barf everywhere. Oh, all right. Really bouncing this thing everywhere. Again, this is a great instructional video. Seriously, look at that. That's terrible. Okay, we found the end. Look at that. Look at that. I found the end. I'm so happy. Okay, set that over there. These little bits of white could make it a little bit difficult. I'm just gonna say, for the way that they call it a tubular cast on, because this is all waste yarn. It's all coming off. This won't be on it, but because you can see it so easily, that's why you want to use a contrasting color. Most of the time I just find a pair of socks that I've knitted and I've got a little spare piece left over that's contrasting. I figured on a video. Okay, so I'm just attaching this right there at the beginning. Okay, it doesn't have to be a fancy knot. So now I'm gonna knit a couple rows. Stockinette, so a knit a row, purl a row, and then I think it's the next row where I show you the magic. It's where the magic happens. But see, when you're knitting with different colors, how you can see right there. See that? How it stands out? That's what we want. All right, I will make you watch all that. See you in a couple rows. Okay, so we're back to, I knitted a row. I'm halfway done with my purl row. See how that looks great, except for right here, right here, where the color of the yarn I'm using has that pale. Makes it a little bit harder to see, but in person, you'd be able to see it. And so I saw a meme about knitting where it was saying that women who knit are witches because you give them 2 sticks and a ball of yarn and boom, you've got socks. It's like, yeah, that is the way it is. But socks, we're gonna use 4 or 5 needles. Not just these 2. I actually have sets that are shorter needles than these because these are kind of long. Yeah. All right, last one. Okay, so I hope this is like not blurred out. So you can see you got your dark, and then you see that stripe of light, and you see the stripe of dark. And that's what's important, is being able to see the 2 different. Because on the next row, we're going to go through this slowly. We're going to knit one, and then you're going to grab right there, pull it up, put it on your needle, and then knit it. Okay, so you're going to do that again. We're going to knit the one that's already on the needle, and then we're going to look here and grab that little purl bump right there. Put it on the needle, and then we're going to knit it. So we have 4 instead of 2. Let me get this piece of yarn out of the way. There we go. So we're going to knit it, and we're going to look for that purl. So you see how there's one here, but that's not the one we want. We want the one that's below it. So see, we don't want that one. We want this one. Put it on the needle and knit it. You can do knit purl if you want, but because of this top of the sock is knit 2, purl 2, I'm just going to knit them all across, because then we have to take all this off. So I'm going to get all the way across, and since I had 32 and I'm doubling them, I will have 64. Okay? All right, I'm going to do it again slow. And knit one. We're going to grab this one under here, and we're going to put it on the needle. And then we're going to knit it. And you just keep doing that. So for some reason, by doing it this way, it makes the cast on not too tight and not too loose. Because see how this one's all loose and baggy looking on the cast on? That would not look good at the top of a sock, especially for a man, because no man wants to wear a lacy sock. That ain't cool. Excuse me. So I get to talking, I lose where I'm at. All right, I need to pick this one up. So if you lose where you are, you're trying to figure it out, you can count how many you've got, and if it's odd, then you need to dip back there. Hopefully that's not too confusing for you. But you know you're going to knit when you got it even, and then pick up that one. If you hear weird clicking in the back, other than me tapping on my marble, I'm making bone broth on the stove right now. It smells amazing. Oh, slip that. All right. I'm going to pick it up, knit it, knit the next one. There we go. Have I even gotten to the... No, we're almost to it. Because I really want you to see what it's like when you get to that point and you can't really see the one you're trying to go for. Because it happens. Especially when you're using a yarn that's variegated in color. I need to hurry up because I think my coffee's getting cold. Okay, this is probably way too much silence. So, oh, I'm at that point. See? Now you're going to be tempted to grab that one because it's the dark one, but that's not the one we want. We want the next one. So the piece of yarn we really want is that one. If you look, it's not perfectly white, so we are not grabbing the wrong one on that one. And I think the next one is almost the same. Okay, see? It's pale. It's not completely white. So, all right. You get the gist. Okay, we're getting close. Almost done. I want to be clear that I did not make up this cast on, and I do not remember who or where I learned it because it was so long ago, and I don't know who to attribute it to. If you know who came up with this way of casting on, you know, you can always drop that comment below, but it's not like I'm doing this for money. I really don't think it matters who made it up. I'm just trying to show you how I do it. Because inevitably, somebody would be like, you're not doing that right. And then I'd be like, you see the socks on my feet? I think I'm doing it right. Anyway. So, inevitably, when I get done, I get down to this last one, and when I've counted, which I didn't count, but this has happened like only a million times that I've done this, I'll have 63 instead of 64. So on this very last one, I knit into the same stitch twice so that I have my 64. I don't try and figure out why I don't have 64. I just add one, and then just let it go. Okay, so got my 64 on here, and we've got to get the white off. So, have I mentioned that these balls of yarn are about, this one in particular, I know I paid 28 for, even though I don't know what type it is. I know I paid 28. Anyway, I generally pay 21 to 28. I think I've paid up to 30 something before. So when it comes to these kind of socks, you want to learn to darn so that when you wear a hole in the socks, and you will, that you can just darn them and mend them, because $28 for a pair of socks is a lot, but they are so worth it. And no, I will not knit you a pair. I don't know who you are that's about to ask me to knit you a pair. No, I'm teaching you how to do it so you can knit your own. And so right here, I'm going to use some teeny tiny scissors, and I'm going to cut this first loop. So I'm just going to pull it away so I know I'm not cutting the expensive yarn. I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to take my other needle and I'm just going to go, all right, boom. We're going to pull this off. And then look at that. See, this is the magic. This is it. Look at that. It's beautiful. So this is all we will be working with. And then I'll probably unravel this and save this and use it for the next pair of socks that are dark. So just sit there and pull it out. So, in case you didn't know, the other reason I need to hurry up and get these socks done, other than it's cold and Charlie wants warm feet, I'm going to be a grandmother, so I need to be knitting and crocheting little baby things very soon. Very soon. All right. See how that's pale right there, but I know I did it right because this is just pulling right out. Okay. You get the idea. Okay. So now that I have it completely ready to roll, I'm going to use the set of 5 needles. So I'll divide it onto 4, and then the 5th needle is a working needle. So 16 on each of these needles, and then that's my working needle. And I checked my handy dandy magnifying glass. These are size 2, but they're the 2.75 millimeter. And I have a tendency to lose knitting needles because they're so tiny. They're so tiny. And see, I have a set that are like this that are quite a bit shorter. But see, aren't they pretty because they got the green wood? It's all different colors. Super pretty. But it's harder to know since they don't have the size on them. And I have a set of several different sizes with this wood. It's like hard to tell. So I bought these ones where each set is a different color. So the 2.75s are my maroon. And whenever I'm doing cable knit, which this one's not really a cable knit, so I don't need an extra needle, I'll use one of these shorter ones. But I'm not going to use that one right now. Okay. So I'm just going to slip 16 of these onto 4 of the needles. And then I'll show you how to begin a round. And so that you don't have your rounds twisted. Super important, because if you twist it, you have to start all over again. Nobody wants to do that. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've got it divided into 4, and so you want to line them up like that, because you see the bottom is all in line all the way across. Because if you flip it like that, and then you go knitting, you're going to have it twisted, and you're not going to have a sock. You're going to have a very strange itty-bitty cowl. So, it's all lined up and carefully not twisted. But this is how you do it. So, Once I have it like that, ready to go, hold it together like that. So, oops, backwards. Sorry, can I confuse you more? That'd be awesome. No, don't confuse people. Okay, so now I got it. Because we're going in that direction, right? And beginning of most socks, even if it's not the beginning, even if it's not the way the pattern is, I generally start a sock with knit 2, purl 2. So, you got your 4, like that. You're going to have your yarn from back there and just open them up. It's not easy to do this while filming. There. So, knit 2. You're just ignoring those other needles, right? Even though they can get in the way and be annoying. You're ignoring them. You're just working on with these two. These are the 2 working needles. Knit 2, purl 2. And once you get to the end of this needle, you'll have a needle free again. And you can just keep going around in circles till you got a sock. Now there's way more to knitting a sock, but it's always the how do you start a sock question that I get. So this is how I start. It's not how I finish. Okay, so I went all the way across that one, right? We aren't twisted. I'm gonna take this one. Oh, my hands went on the screen there. This is the one that we just freed up. Now we're just going to the next one. Knit 2, purl 2. Easy as that. Ish. Well, that's a mess, but you get the point. You just work across, then you're going to the next one. You know, you can always speed up if you want to get to the next part. She's quietly knitting and not saying anything. Okay, so we got that one done. Look at that. Fabulous. Now we got another free needle. So we're going to move on to the next one. You just keep going around. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my very first sock I ever knitted. Right there. Gosh, that was a really long time ago. And it's still warm. Wore holes in it, and that is what darning looks like with a different color of purple. And it's got little pills on it, because that's what happens when you wash them. So, let's see. This is another one I did. Different pattern again. That was a different pattern. This pattern is the one that I use for when I do guys' socks. When I do my own socks, I do a little bit more fancy. and they get a little bit felted, but this one I definitely started this way. So, but it's knit 1 purl 1 at the top instead of knit 2 purl 2. There must be, because I have a basket with all the ones I want to darn, so there might be a hole in this one somewhere or in its pair. But it looks like it's still all together. Pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure that this is a free pattern, and I got on Ravelry, and yeah, it's got more than one size. So yeah, because you can start with 48, 56, 64, 72. I always go with the 64. Even though the boys both have kind of big feet, I still go with that one. And again, we're just going in circles. Got any questions, just let me know. Hopefully when I actually look at this video, everything isn't like way over here, or way over here, or way over here. Who knows? Won't be long. I have a pair of socks to give to Charlie, and he will be super happy. All right, thanks for watching. Have a fabulous November.